Morning all. A few little gems from recent news that have angered the nether regions. Try this one for size. It's an absolute disgrace. Call me grumpy, but can you believe it? What are these bloody tosspot politicians going to do next? We're fighting Angela Merkel and Macron in France, Merkel in Germany, of course, about Brexit, and they're trying to shit all over us. And then what happens? We're going to invite Germans to the Cenotaph on November the 11th to honour the dead in a war that they started. You can't get your breath. And then, of course, we've got real soldiers like Colonel Richard Kemp, who absolutely looks the part, who says it's not a good idea and really they should rethink that. Well, that is an understatement, and I'm sure he didn't say that in real life. And then what do we have? We have former Army Captain Rowley Gregg. Well, look at that. I think the hand on the hip says it all. All he wants to do is dress up in his fancy bloody uniform because now he's got a job running the armistice parade. So, jobs for the boys, so he's a yes man. And he thinks it's a good idea, and just let me quote him because this is a belter. We should welcome the inclusion of the German president as a mark of our ongoing commitment to reconciliation, peace, freedom and democracy in the world today. Well, why don't we invite ISIS? Hey, give them a mention. Let them join in the parade, you stupid bastard. And my pal Bernard's not very happy about it either. Now then, don't go thinking this is Islamophobic. How dare you? Wait a minute. British jihadis fighting in Syria for ISIS can't come home, so they're going to fight to the death against the Russians. Well, there'll only be one winner there, won't there? Hey, if you can't stand the heat, don't get in the kitchen. And then, talking about jihadis and Muslims and everything else, we've got Pastor Paul Song, who is the Christian pastor at Brixton Prison, who holds prayer meetings, but they're being disrupted by the Muslim contingent to the degree that he made it public. Now, he's been there over 20 years at this prison doing his best, converting the sinners, and because he's complained about this, them taking over his prayer meetings, he's going to be sacked. You know, what is it coming to, eh? It's unbelievable, isn't it? Really is. Well, I must get out more because these little numbers are aqua shoes. And you can wear them on the beach and in swimming pools to protect your feet. Well, I'd never heard of them. But doing my physio, walking in the pool, I've had to get some to wear them because my feet are so knackered that I can't walk on the metal rails into the pool. And it's only 4 foot deep and there's only 3 steps, but I can't stand on them. Just can't believe it, can you? So there I go, off to Amazon, order them, delivered tomorrow. And then I get an email off Amazon Seeing as you've ordered these shoes, why don't you look at these and order some more? And they send me 10 more pair suggestions. How many pairs of aqua shoes can you wear at any one time? And am I going to be so fashion conscious, have to have a different pair every day? Crying out loud. Just a little story about the gym. You get a little magnetic tag to get you in. You know, like you get nowadays, car parks and all sorts of things. So I have it on my key ring and I'm trying to get in and it won't work. So, being grumpy, I have a moan and they look at it and they say, well, if you used our tag and not Tesco's, you might have a chance. I shouldn't be allowed out, should I? So anyway, I used it and it still didn't work because I jammed up the whole turnstile, but you know, it keeps people in work. Well, that's a relief, isn't it? Winter schedules and Strictly is back. But what do we get with Strictly? We get Craig Revel-Allwood and Bruno Tonioli, whatever his bloody name is, on the panel of judges. Right pair of raving gays, but it's a family show. And what do? They spend all the bloody time commenting on the swivelling hips and backsides of male celebrities. Well, it's unnecessary and it's downright disgraceful at that time of night. So I wrote to Ofcom, who said they can't deal with it yet, right to the BBC. So I've written to the BBC and complained about it because I think it's disgraceful. And I did say in my letter, just to prove I'm not homophobic, that Alan Carr and Graham Norton seem to manage being totally gay without ramming it down our throats at every opportunity. So let's hope they put a stop to it and we can get on with watching the dancing so I don't have to fast forward the judging. I've got every right to be homophobic or suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder from being in the vice squad in the police, and it was in the days when homosexuality was illegal in a public place, and we used to go and arrest men in gents' toilets, and they were known as cottages, and they used to stand in the urinals in a row holding each other's tackle, and that was called a daisy chain. And if you walked in quietly, you used to get the odd one on his knees giving the other one some oral sex. And let's not forget anal sex in a cubicle, because it all went on. And that's why I'm a little bit sensitive about it all, because I've seen it as it really is, and it's a disgrace. As if a couple of gays gyrating about and simulating sex behind the desk isn't enough, we got Claudia Winkleman now, who admits to parading about her house naked. Well, that's fair enough. And her husband does it as well. Must be quite stimulating, but do you know, they do it in front of the kids. And the son is 15. She has a daughter at the impressionable age of 12 and a younger son, 7. And she boasts the eldest son is appalled. Well, I should bloody well think he is, and he won't know why. But he's going to grow up thinking that that's normal for a mother. It's an absolute disgrace. How on earth could she appear in the Sunday Mirror boasting about that? Can't be a full shilling, can she? Well, if you've watched the Labour conference, You can't believe that these people actually really believe what they're saying. They've got to be being paid by bloody Russia to ruin this country. It's absolutely unbelievable. Who on earth is going to vote Labour and cause all that? And then, really, they must be flying, the same people must be flying Ryanair. Who's stupid enough nowadays to fly Ryanair? Well, let me tell you. A chap called Hamilton he was 6'2", so he paid for an extra legroom seat. And when he gets on the plane, somebody sat in it. So he asked the staff to move this person. And they said they weren't prepared to move the person because he was a Ryanair member of staff. So Hamilton had to go and find a seat somewhere else, all 6'2" of him. So he demanded a refund and free booze or whatever you get as compensation. And he ended up getting the police called. They all treated it rather jovially, but the principle's there, isn't it? Never fly Ryanair unless you're a Labour voter. You all must be as daft as each other. Well, this little beauty is Chief Constable Charlie Hall, who's decided that the crime wave is not due to police failings and the lack of trust in the police by the courts, but in the courts themselves, who are too lenient with criminals. Well, he's the head of a force with failing detection rates and everything else, top heavy with senior ranks and not enough constables again. Can you believe it? But anyway, he has a happy family life. And here's a picture of him and his wife and child. Now, in case you're confused, that's him on the left. I can't wait to see how the baby grows up. Oh, that's it. Thanks for watching if you're still there. It's gone a bit longer than some because I still have others that I've not mentioned. But they're funny, and I'm going to do very shortly in another one, so you might get 2 this week, you lucky people. Anyway, onwards and upwards. Stand in the heat, in the kitchen, all that nonsense. Might have a pint later. Bye.